Well, hi, everybody, our global family. I am so thrilled and tickled today with the absolutely fantastic and phenomenal Dr. Lulu. Hello, Dr. Lulu.
Hey, Heather. I want to
Hi.
say Heather Locklear, but well, oh well.
No, we'll just keep with the Lockett. Yes.
I know, I saw that.
You're Dr. Lulu. I can just be Miss Heather. I'll just go with
I
the
know, I
Heather.
like it. I know that there was a Heather Locklear, that there was
Yeah,
one. So it just helped me with your last name and with just kind of knowing you. But yes,
right.
thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Well, and I will finish your intro in just a second, but I have to say, we met under the last full moon in Orlando. And so from the get-go, there's been sparks of fire. And we were mutually at the latest Podfest that is the multimedia. 2,000 people were there, and everyone was sharing their voice, their vision, their heart, and helping others not only put it out into the world, but for their audiences and their clients and the people they work with and our governments and we're here to just say, hear us and listen. And where you can understand better, we have something to share with you. So, Dr. Lulu, you are here representing the LGBTQ community, or Q plus, transgender, and you have a son, you have a journey. You are a board certified pediatrician, so you're a medical doctor in practice. You are world renowned. You are a public speaker. You've been all over the media. You have your own podcast. Please tell us every little old thing.
Gosh. The first question is always, how much time do you have? I've got 55 years to try to pack into 45 minutes. So my name is Dr. Lulu. As you said, I was born, bred, buttered, and slightly burned in Nigeria, one of the most religious as well as one of the most homophobic countries in West Africa. I have to say those two things together because they're both true. I was born Catholic. I am Igbo, so I'm from the southeastern part of the country. I grew up in Nigeria, went to high school in Nigeria, went to med school in Nigeria. Then I moved over here to do my residency at Howard. So I'm a bison. I went to Howard University Hospital, met my ex-husband, rest in peace, got married, had kids, and now I'm here. So I think I was probably born an activist. I think I was definitely born an advocate. I'm most likely born an activist. I see myself more of an activist actually than an advocate. Not that there's anything wrong with being an advocate, but I think activist is where I identify myself better. And it's always about self-identity. It's always about how you see yourself. As we were talking about before we started rolling, I saw my little name tag a certain way, and I don't care what the other lady was trying to see. I was not trying to see it because my spirit only wanted my little name badge to be a certain way. And eventually, the universe always conspires to make you great. And before we could say anything, the person came back from lunch who was like, wait, I got it. I do this all the time. And boom, within 3 minutes, what I had been trying to get for 17 minutes was fixed. So I just want people to just always first of all, allow yourself to dream, and then hold on to your dream before you go to bed every night, like the PJ, the newsie, I think is their name, said at the event. PJ Denuzzo, this person, I've been reading this book cover to cover, said before you go to bed every night, ask the universe for something. Just make a request of the universe and watch it happen the next day. Before I went to bed last night, I said, tomorrow I'd like to order my name badge already. I want to be done with that. I want to go to events and have my name badge. And I want it done. And that was it. So I took a walk today. It took me about 2.5 to 3 hours to go and come back. But I got my name badge. So that's who I am. I'm a doer, I'm a mover, I'm a shaker, I'm an agitator, and I'm a mom of 3, and my eldest just happens to be trans. So
well, I'm going to
male. Go ahead.
Thank you. I want to jump right into that. And that said, one of the things, going back to the name badge, and this all ties together, is who we are and what we say we are, and who can hear us and who might have a little hard time. So just within the construct of you're creating a name badge that is your identity moving forward and how people are going to see you. It hadn't quite come out correctly as you had your vision. And that woman was having a little bit of a hard time hearing you. And then it ended up getting fixed as you saw your vision, as you want to be seen and heard. And what you were saying to me as we were getting ready to come on camera here is never let anybody else dim your light. If you have your vision of who you are, what your name is, say it and keep it there. So I needed to finish that.
I love that summary. Yes, I love that summary. And that's kind of, I think it goes into every aspect of our lives, whether I see myself as a cisgender woman, or I see myself as a non-binary person or transgender male. How I see myself, as long as I hold on, the universe is so happy to conspire to move the chess pieces in your favor. A lot of us just don't wait long enough. We want it now and we want it right now. I could have left that place frustrated, walked all the way back home, been on time for this podcast, but I just knew that I said, I know that there's somebody at Staples who knows how to make a name badge, because I called before I came and they said, yes, we got you. So I know that somebody here, and just like you said, as a child who tells their mother that they're transgender or that they're non-binary or that they're gay or that they're lesbian or whatever they say that they are, they need you as the parent to catch that wave and be that wind beneath their wings. So it takes a long time for some people. Like I did today, it took me almost 20 minutes before somebody came and said, okay, I know what to do. Sometimes it takes longer for people to kind of get you. Sometimes it doesn't take that long. But if you hold on long enough, I love that song. I think it's by the Rockettes, I don't know who sang it, Rockettes or Wilson Phillips. You've got to hold on for just one more day. Or Genesis, one more night. Yep. However it is, just if you hold on to that, this is who you are. There will be waves of disbelief and people, pushing and prodding and asking you, are you sure? And why do you want this lifestyle? And calling it all the things or not. But if you know who you are and you hold on to your dream and who you, literally yesterday on the podcast, the guest we had said, he is not trans, but he said, talking about to transgender people, said, you can, to queer people, say you can bring whoever you want to bring home that you love or whatever, but also you should bring yourself home as you are. And I just thought that was so beautiful, So
that's it right there. That bring yourself home where you are.
Bring yourself as you are. Yes, it was so powerful.
It's so powerful. And I think that gets into the nugget of where you can start with some of your own journey and which ties into so many inquiries. Because there are a lot of people who might feel confused. Well, who am I? Or I thought I was this, but maybe I'm not. And I certainly don't think I fit into any of these boxes, or maybe my child, or maybe my student. Talk to us about what that home in oneself actually is, especially while we're in a transitional time anyway, all of our society. And then if you take gender identity or sexuality or all of these other things that are monumental, also, who am I? And why am I here? Who can I trust? And all these home-based things. What is home?
I love it. I love it. My second TED Talk, I have 3 TED Talks. I don't know if you know that, but I have 3 TED Talks. My second one, in my second TED Talk, I make a case for inviting in as opposed to coming out. So it's titled Rethinking the Closet. That name came to me one morning. I said, we need to rethink the closet. And the question I ask in the TED Talk is, whose closet is it anyway? And then I say, what do you put in a closet? Things you don't like, things you want to hide when your house is messy and you hear the doorbell, you quickly pick up stuff and shove them in the closet and lock them in there. So why put people in there? Whose idea was it to use the closet to describe anybody, period, gay or not? And so I make a case for, why don't we rather, as the queer people, hold the 4 aces and we get to invite you in, because being queer in today's world is about safety. If I don't think Heather is safe, I'm not going to tell Heather that I'm queer. And so the onus is on Heather. It behooves Heather to show me that they are safe. And I was on a podcast 2 days ago, and somebody said, well, how do you show someone that you're safe? I said, by being your own true, authentic self. If you are true and authentic, I'll be like, wow, I love the way Heather, you know what? I think I think Heather deserves an invitation. And one of the things I say is, not only am I the host because it's my party, I get to invite you to my party. I get to rescind my invitation, or I get to upgrade you to VIP status. You just have to show me that you are safe. And so I want parents to do the same thing with their kids. And so the parents I coach, they actually want to be affirming. I tell people that all the time. I don't have the bandwidth to coach someone who does not. There are 8 billion people on earth. I have lived 55 years on earth. I don't have 55 more if everybody's history says anything. So I don't have a second to stand to argue with someone who doesn't want to affirm their child. There are too many people who do want to. I want those people. I don't want it. It's not like I'm looking at easy or not easy. I just truly want my business to be about love and acceptance and affirmation and awareness. And so for that reason, I only want to work with those who want to affirm their kids and want to know how. Great. Let's talk about how. But first of all, the first question I ask you is, what are your thoughts about the queer community? When you hear someone is LGBT, what do you think? And then, where did that thought come from? Who inserted it in your brain? Because as a newborn baby, you didn't think that. Somebody told you that. Somebody said something to you and made you start thinking that. So let's go back and unravel. And so for me, when I was 16, when I was 11, actually, I went to an all-girls high school. It was a boarding school. And then between 11 and 16, when I graduated high school, I noticed that I liked girls, but also I liked boys. And so I only knew the word lesbian. And when I say this, I want people to know that representation matters and words matter. I couldn't see, I was like, I'm not a lesbian because I also like boys. But okay, maybe since the word lesbian is all I have, maybe I'm a lesbian. And then about 20 something, I discovered the word bisexual. I'm saying, wait, that's me. That describes me more. And now the word is bi plus. I said, okay, maybe I'm not fully bi plus, but I definitely am bisexual. And so I want people to see how, just like you said, we can start with something and they say, you know what? I think this one fits better. I like this hat, but if I open it, it's a little loose. Well, can you make it snugger? Right? Because I already like the hat. Or, well, is there one that is more my size? Then that's the one I really want. I want people to live and let live. And what I found is the only reason anybody will be in my way of finding the hats that I want is one, they don't understand it. Two, they do understand it, but they don't like it because maybe me not knowing myself somehow benefits them, which is crazy, right?
Right.
It's crazy, but it's true. So there are two groups of people. The first one are the very staunch allies, those who are like, I'm pro-LGBT all day. I want them to have their way. I need them to have their way. Watch those people because they're probably LGBT. But then there's another group of people, those who are 100% against LGBT people being who they are. Those people are most likely also in the closet. And so I say that when you find the very, very strong, staunch homophobes, they are experiencing internalized homophobia.
Mm-hmm.
And so I actually have compassion for them because they are not able to live their own lives out loud. And so it's like a dog in a manger. So I'm not going to let you live out loud because I can't live out loud. And so the question is, why? And a lot of times in today's world is religious trauma, is cultural trauma, is, it's just misinformation, disinformation, misconceptions, myths, lies, basically, right? Because if you're not Black, Heather, you can never, ever know what it's like to be Black.
That's right.
Therefore, you can never, ever tell me anything about my Blackness. Same thing with being queer or being trans. I'm not trans. And so when somebody tells me they're trans, I cannot truthfully say you're not, because I don't know that. Being transgender is a very personal, gender identity is a very personal sense of self. And that's different from your chromosomes being X or Y, which determines male or female. And I like that distinction because one person is a woman, the other one is a genetic male. So when it comes to chromosomes, they are genetic males, but their gender identity, the way they see themselves, the way they think, the way they feel, is a woman. And I don't get to tell you that you're not. I can't. How can I? I don't know.
So
And then
these,
the other part of it is gender expression.
thank you.
How do I now manifest my gender identity?
Mm-hmm.
Today, I'm wearing a face cap for those who are listening. For the most part, in American world, is a man's wear. But I have a beautiful scarf that matches the colors on my face cap. And I have a sweater because I want to wear black. And you can't see my corduroy pants, but they're the same color as the light purple in my scarf. And so overall, I am manifesting a more feminine outfit. But if you just see from here, you may not know that. So gender expression is now how I manifest my gender identity, which is completely different from my genetic chromosomal identity. So when I tell people that choosing the words, well, I don't understand, and telling your child, well, I don't understand, I want you to know that sometimes even your child doesn't understand. And so in my second TED Talk, I make a case for it's okay for the parents to just be okay with the knowing. Just know that this is where your child is today and meet them there. Because sometimes they don't understand themselves. I didn't understand. I thought I was just a lesbian. I said, I don't understand it because I like boys, but a lesbian says you like only girls. I didn't understand it. So if somebody had asked me when I was 16, I'd be like, I don't know, because I truly didn't know. It took me to be in my mid-20s to realize that there's another word called bisexual. Oh, that's a more fitting word for me. Hopefully I haven't spoken too much, but
No, not at all, because this is every nugget is absolutely beautiful. And where the inquiry lies is helping the parents, and especially for the little ones. And I think this is where, to be very honest, a lot of people and in politics and in schools, and we're in Florida and it's a thing. Mm-hmm. There's this worry of turning somebody into something.
I love it.
I hate to say the word agenda, but people are afraid. It all comes where either there's love or there's fear. Mm-hmm. So these are all of the conversations, and all the conversations are very, very fair and valid. To let's talk. Let's
have a conversation.
Let's have a conversation about what somebody might be afraid of, or whose needle on what record player is somebody's truth and validity. So
I love that. I love what you brought up. I love you bringing up the child. So let's go there, shall we?
So we're going to go there in terms of best shepherding a little one, because the assumption is, oh, this is about sex. It's not about sex. It is identity. And so if there is, a born boy who now likes playing dress up and pocketbooks and stuff, that could be just something for fun. It may or may not have anything to do with, well, he's going to turn gay. But so in this time and the fluidity, and the children are way more fluid in their identities from your clients and your experience. And as a pediatrician and as someone in the world and out in the world, how are we all to best shepherd the little ones these days?
I love that question. I answer that, and if I go off, just bring me back. I answer that question with another question. Usually I ask the people, when did you first know your own gender identity? It's a fair question. Many people tell me, I've always known. I said, well, so has your child. And going back, just because your child tells you at 26 doesn't mean that that's when they knew. I knew when I was 11. Sexuality is about attraction. Most people at 11 start experiencing some degree of attraction. Little mild flirting here, little girlfriend, little whatever, And so at 11, I started feeling that way. Now, that's because I am bisexual, which is a sexuality. That's not a gender identity.
Right.
Unfortunately, they're all grouped into one community, but they are different. There's gender and then there's sexuality. When it comes to gender in medicine, as a pediatrician, I know that by 18 months to 2 years, most, if not all, children know their gender identity. And people are like, wait, what? I said, yes, because if you ask a 2-year-old cisgender boy, are you a boy or a girl? The child will say, I'm a boy, if they are cisgender. Now, the same thing with a girl. So the question is, if the child is not cisgender, if the child is transgender, they're not going to know what to say because everybody's telling them, you're a boy. And one of the things I talk about is how a baby is born and we proclaim, it's a boy. The baby didn't say that. We said that. And when we say that, we start raising the children as that. And so my third TED Talk, I make a case for parents becoming students. It's titled, Let the Children Lead, Parenting as Students. The children will lead you to who they are. So now what I say is I have 3 children. My eldest is transgender, and the other 2 I am raising as boys. So that one day they say, Mom, I'm not a boy. I realize I was the one raising the child as a boy, assuming the child is a boy, until the child tells me otherwise. I want parents to lean in from that angle. Because after all, you learn everything else from your child. We think we know, but if you think you know, try to get your toddler to eat their broccoli if they don't want to. And you will see why I say you got to learn how to be a student. If the child doesn't want to eat the broccoli, you cannot get them to. What's going to happen is they're going to get upset. You're going to get upset. Someone is going to throw up. Someone is going to get really mad. And guess what? The broccoli is not eaten. What we do is we negotiate with the toddler. All right, if you have 1 bite of your broccoli, you can have 1 sip of your juice, right? And then both people are happy. Imagine if we leaned in that way with gender identity as well. And that way we're like, well, we're raising, and that's why we should not, this whole concept of pink and blue and, gender reveal party, which I call genital reveal party, because that's what that is. The radiographer tells you they have male body parts, and then you celebrate with a blue cloud, right? But really, That's a genital identity. The chromosomes determine the genitalia. Your mind and your brain determines your gender identity, which, when you look at gender as a whole, is actually a societal construct. Once upon a time, men wore heels. The color pink was originally men's color. And as the world has changed, it has morphed into women wearing heels. Men in Scotland still wear skirts all day. I don't hear anybody saying anything. Men in Texas wear heels all the time. They call them cowboy boots, but they're heels, my friend. And so let us be careful how we want to box people into spaces and force them to be there. If they're not who they are, what you think they are, let them be. Because the other end of it is suicide and mental health challenges. And if a child is going to jump to their death as the only option rather than living because they're not going to live authentically, I want us to wonder about that. And my first TED Talk addresses that. Childhood trauma and suicide, and why the world should be screaming right now that we are not doing right by our kids. And we're worrying about banning books and bathrooms and all the minutiae. And yet suicide rate is highest amongst transgender kids. Ask yourself why. And when you talk to trans people, they will tell you that as soon as I started living authentically, I felt better. And so if it's a choice, which is what people think, if it's really truly a choice, who in their right minds will choose to be gay in today's world? Who in their right minds will choose to be transgender at the risk of homicide in the case of my Black trans daughter's case? And yet she's willing to risk that to live authentically. I think it's time for us to have that conversation. So thank you for your podcast. Thank you for being a space where we can talk about these things because they need to be talked about. And this is not Dr. Lulu. I have nothing to gain. I could be mute today. There'll be trans people anyway. So it's not a Dr. Lulu thing. And that's what I said on the other podcast. I said it's not a white or Black space. It's a mom space. I'm doing it because I'm a mother. I'm a mama beast. And that's what mama beasts do. We go and fight for our kids through education in this case.
So, it's, we always talk about the goosebumps part of the show, and then there's the speechless part. And I'm speechless in the best way because this is it. And I know the kids have been ringing the bell, especially since 2020. And, stop this craziness and go home and let's talk for a while. But the whole mama bear thing, and that is just getting to me because I think it's so true. Everything you just said is landing. And how can we allow the space for the differences? Now, the show coming out tomorrow, is about neurodiversity. And there are so many voices about that. We have physical diversity. We have all kinds of things. We have, the sexual and gender diversity, how we think. It's all about a new day dawning, and every is different generations coming in, and the kids are banging on all of us to please hear us. Yes. And so I resonate with and I use that word, where can we be a good shepherd, a good steward, but that's different than dictating. We're no longer dictators. We're just no longer dictating because that's not our purpose. Our purpose is to see and to love, to guide. We're talking about the broccoli fight. Well, then how many deaths about, food issues and body issues that lead, just all the different rabbit holes that come out of fight and conflict, which becomes conflict with our parents in society, within ourselves, and then it can go haywire. So
it's
I know
funny you
you and
said
I
that
are,
because a lot of the
yeah.
parents that I work with will tell me once my child came out, which I don't like to use that. I use invited me in, but regardless, once my
I
child
love that. I want to
invited
let that
me in,
marinate and land a little bit more. There's
they
coming
say
out
once
that
my
but
child,
it's inviting me
yes,
in. They've invited
yes,
me into their
into their
space.
world, yes,
And
yes,
am I
they say
safe
that
enough for them to invite me
to invite
in?
me in.
Oh my
That's the
God,
question.
which every single one of us do every day. If you have someone banging at my front door right now, would I let them in? Or do I say, hold on a second? So it's very, oh boy, that's to have someone of any sort of difference whatsoever that's just so primal and sensitive to allow you in. That says everything. Like, I have to trust you enough with this information, especially if I'm especially if I'm still questioning myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you safe enough for me to invite you in? Is
Right.
the question the children are asking. I was not safe enough. And I want to say that with my full chest. I'm doing this work now because I was not a safe place for my child.
Okay.
My child struggled with a little, according to her, she said, I had a little bit of suicidal ideation. Whether she was trying to make me feel a little bit better, she was trying to soften it, I don't know. But she said, Mom, you were extremely transphobic when I was a child. I'll go to my grave with that. But like Maya Angelou said, you keep doing what you're doing until you know better, then you do better. So I know better now, and I'm doing better. And they say, smart people learn from their mistakes, but smarter people learn from other people's mistakes. And so I want people to learn from my mistakes. I was not the ideal parent, even as a queer woman, even as I was married to my ex-wife during my child's college years. I was so scared for my child. I wanted my child to not be gay. I did not want my child to live in this world where people do not want gay people, especially gay Black men. And then they come for them. Somebody got killed in New York recently because he was voguing at the gas station. He got stabbed 17 times by another Black person. So it's not safe. That person was simply voguing. We don't know that that person was trans, it was just a Black male. There's something about male toxicity and misogyny and masculine whatever that makes people they don't want to see a man show emotions. They don't want to see a man feel. There's something about men just, expressing anything soft. Why? Whose idea was that? We all have equal. Jesus himself cried. Jesus wept in the Bible. So we're not talking about people who don't show emotions. If you don't show emotions, that's why we have a high suicide rate amongst Black men. Toxic masculinity and suicide. Look it up. I had a podcast called Suicide Pages a long time ago. Look up the connection between toxic masculinity and antisocial behavior, sociopathic behavior, and suicide. Because they're not allowed to show their emotions. It's a very dangerous thing. I want us to start today and start leaning in and start allowing our children to just let the boys run free. If they want to wear dresses, let them wear dresses. Let them smell the roses. Let our girls, if they want to work as a mechanic, let them be mechanic. I have now learned that I had the wrong formula when I was raising my children. And I don't want anybody else to have to go through that. It's painful at the very least. It causes childhood trauma, which if you look up the ACEs study, ACEs, Adverse Childhood Experiences, which is what my first TED Talk is about, you will see where it leads to suicide. It leads to mental health problems. It leads to, kidney disease and heart disease and fibromyalgia and all the things. So it's time we stop traumatizing our children And it's like the more we're talking, the more they're killing children in Gaza and in Congo. And it's a terrible thing that the adults are doing to children today. Is adult supremacy is what they call it, adult supremacy, which is just unfortunate. Just really unfortunate.
It is.
But,
and you know, I know we really could go on and probably have two and 3 and 4 shows. And there's no wonder that, you know, you've already had 400 podcasts, whether of your own or on guests on everybody on other shows and things. So this is vital and loving and absolutely important. I will go ahead and make a plug to just 2 weeks ago, speaking with Ben Curtis. His wheelhouse is with men and the divine masculine and helping men understand everything that you were just talking about. It is okay to feel, to come out through whatever your traumas are, and know that we have your back, male to male in every form, and that dudes can be male, female, cis, all of it. We're all, and this is where I come in, we're all in this together. We really are all in this together. And these are where I encourage all the different resources and wheelhouses. So I'm going to press.
Put a plug.
I want to talk to. Yep. Yes. Say all of your fun plugs before we go off for 2 hours. Say where you need to say and where people can find you.
So they can find me on social media. Somebody actually typed in Dr. Lulu today.
Yeah.
On his phone, a random gentleman on his phone, and I popped up. So I like that. I like that I'm maybe the most popular Dr. Lulu out there. Who knows? I don't know. But he typed in Dr. Lulu, and there I was. I literally, my biography popped up with my picture. I was like, wait, what? So you could just Google me and find me. That's one. Number 2, this book is called Invited In: How to Become the Parent Your LGBT Child Needs. It's not out yet, but it's supposed to come out this year if me and the American Academy of Pediatrics can get our act together. This one is called About Your Black Transgender Child, also by me. Supposed to also drop this year. I'm trying to get them all out. And the third book is called Allies in White Coats, LGBTQ plus basics for physicians, because I want my people, doctors, to be the most culturally and compassionately competent people for the queer patients and employees, because a lot of times we forget that some of your employees are also queer. So if you are a safe doctor, your employees will love it and they will stay. It affects your bottom line at the end of the day. So I'm excited. I'm excited about what the world holds for me and you. And thank you for being an ally and allowing me to stand on your shoulder, on your platform, and yell out, because that's what God said. I don't know if you remember, I don't know if you watched my little attempt at my comedy. And I said, God was like, you're going to go do this work. And what I'll do is I'll put people in places to help you do the work. But the work to do, you must do. And so I was like, okay, I'll do it. As long as they
yes. And this was at the podcasting showcase where they added. So not only did you do an amazing speech, but then they had a comedy routine thing. So I loved that, where people were just called to not teach per se, but do it in that manner of, I have something else to say and let's just have some fun. But it was it's also very, very powerful. So my goodness, Dr. Lulu, do you have one last little nugget that you want to shout from the rafters?
Yes, absolutely. I want parents to understand one thing. You are infinitely the most important person in your child's life. You also are the most influential person in your child's life. So what you think matters, what you say matters, what you do matters. And I know the governors in some states, the legislatures in some states they just don't know any better. But your child, your 4-year-old, your 7-year-old, your 9-year-old does not know those people, but they know you. And so at the end of the day, what you do affects the child 200 million times before what the governor does. Yeah, on a broader scale, maybe, but inside the home, the sanctuary, where the child belongs, is you. And so reach out to me if you would like to know more, if you like to understand what's going on with your child. Because the funny thing, I used to be your child, and today I am you. I was the child who told my dad at 16, and my dad said, it's a phase. And I believed my dad, but my dad was not right. But I didn't know then. So I have walked what your child is walking as a cisgender woman who is queer. I know a little bit about what your kid is going through, and I know a whole lot about what you are going through because I also have a child who is queer. So reach out to me. dr-lulu.com is my website, or my email is coach@dr-lulu.com. Send me an email. Let's have a conversation. I get that you are afraid. I was afraid too. But sometimes out of fear, we do some irreparable damage to our kids. And you don't want your child to be in the ICU, or worse still, you don't want to be receiving flowers because of something that your child did not ask for and you didn't know any better. So let me help you understand that society is the reason we think the way we think.
Well, where we can, again, with the reframing, is we create our society. We create our society. This is really why we're here. We're recreating a new society. And of course, getting into the new genetics, and the children are here to shake us up, to say,
yes,
we are a new society and we want to invite you in.
I love it. Love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for using the inviting in. That is definitely where I find myself. I'm trying to spread that mindset.
Yeah.
And I think it's a privilege to be invited. It's a privilege.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
To be invited.
Yes, it is.
And
so
I found out late,
yeah.
but better late than never. So I found out late, but you know what? I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere. So thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you so much, and better late than never. This is so true. Oh, Dr. Lulu, thank you again. We'll have to play again and chat and throw love, and we will continue to do that. So thank you. And
I'm happy to come back when the books drop. We could always revisit when the books drop.
I love it.
That will help me finish the books already, because I need to finish the books. I need to sit down in one place and finish.
There we go. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Thank you. And thanks again for listening, everybody. Please be sure to like, review, and share this episode and all of the others. We really are here to be a guiding light for anybody that is curious about all the different topics such as this. And we are here to get to the heart of everything. This is Lasting Conversations. Thanks again.